My name is Thorsten Overgaard. I'm a Danish photographer. I travel the world taking photographs and teaching photography. Below the video there's a link to my new ebook that you can download. You can even pause the video right now, click on it so you don't forget it. Then you have in a few minutes you can start reading on your iPad, smartphone, computer, you can even print it. But what I want to talk about today is inspiration and photography. Recently I got a great idea. I thought, let's meet a bunch of photographers with our cameras and drink some coffee and walk around the city. So I started in Berlin as the first city, and we were like 15-20 people had met in a fairly cold November. That was actually a year ago almost. And then we just walked around and we talked and we took photos for a couple of hours and we stopped for coffee now and then. And that was great fun. And this is inspired from our workshops where we walk around for the first day. We actually walk around a city for 7 hours and do the same. We drink coffee, have lunch, talk about photography and get inspired from what we see and the light that we experience. So the walk and talk turned out to be a really fun thing. Even one of the guys in Berlin said, wow, that's a great idea. I will take it over. I will send out an email and gather the troops every 2 or 3 months. And then the circle have just spread and spread. So it's almost like a new art of photo club. You put on your shoes and a camera and then you go out and drink some coffee and take some photos and talk with like-minded. So I thought, this is awesome, I'll do some more of this. So then I did a small world tour. I went to Hamburg, I did it in Amsterdam. Then I went to Paris and did a walk with me. And then I went through Italy to Zagreb and did a walk with me. And then I went to Belgrade and Istanbul. Then I flew to the US and I did it in Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Florida, and a few other places. And then the tour we had to go back to Europe, and then of course it's also going to be in Asia. So there is going to be a walk with me in Jakarta and Manila and Tokyo and Hong Kong and so on. So that's going to be in the future. So just stay tuned on my newsletter, my website, and my Instagram. That's where I announce it, and I also send out in my email when there is a walk with me somewhere in the world. The walk with me is a micro workshop because, as I said, it inspired from my workshop concept, where the workshop is 3 days and it's a relatively small exclusive group. And what we do is that we meet the first day, we meet in the morning for great strong coffee. Then we set up the cameras and then we start walking the city. And when you walk as a group of photographers, well, it's quite entertaining. It's a little bit like a kindergarten, but also you walk pretty slow because you start looking at things. And that's the whole point. The point is, put on some good shoes, take a camera, leave your phone at home, don't have anything to do, then just go out and look at stuff. Then you're going to notice, wow, it's actually springtime. The trees, you can tell that it's springtime, or you look, there's some beautiful light, there's some kids playing, or there's a dog, or something like that. And that inspires you to take photographs. And that's basically what we do in the workshop. The first day we walk around for 7 hours and we just say, okay, so we go left and right here, and it's whichever street looks the most interesting, that's the way we go. And if we see a nice coffee place, we stop for coffee. So, for example, in Istanbul was quite interesting. Well, all the cities were interesting, but Istanbul was fun because we walked from my hotel and we walked down the street where I knew there was a spot where you could see over Istanbul. You could see the water and some of the buildings on the other side, and it was like sunset, of course. And then we did some photos of that, and we walked the street, and we find a box of chickens. I mean, who would have known? So we had some fun with that, and we met some police officers and an old vintage car. And then we walked down the street, and that was kind of the only plan I had. I want to see this street because I had seen that street a few days before when I arrived to Istanbul. There was really beautiful sunshine, and people were like playing chess and drinking tea and stuff. So I wanted to go there and see more. What is that? And as we walk down this street, I get told that this is actually a street where the local people in Istanbul that haven't really been there before, because this is the area for the Kurds. So that explains why there was a few, not really tanks, but kind of like small tanks, and there was like police around. It's just not like that dramatic, but it's just a little bit, you sense there's something different about it. So it's simply just a Kurt neighborhood, but it didn't really matter. The light was beautiful, the people were nice. We photographed a lot of kids and families, and people who had a market were packing down the markets, and we took some photos of them also. So we had a great time. It was amazing how much, how relaxed you can be walking around and talking about photography and life and coffee and what have you for 2 hours, and still you can take a lot of photos and you can actually experience a lot of stuff. So that's a good lesson, and it's something that I have a secret hope that I will kind of be able to form like a photo club or some photo community around in different cities where they'll just do exactly that. They will meet once in a while, where on a corner cafe where they have good coffee, and then they'll just walk out and talk and take photographs and share them after. So that's the whole idea of it, and it's probably like 200 people or something have participated in this so far. And also, like for example, we did a walk and talk, or walk with me as I call it now, in Silicon Valley. So I had the workshop, and then on the second day of the workshop, after the workshop, we just took a short break, and then we met with a bunch of people in San Francisco. And it's great because we're kind of like this tight little workshop group that have been working on different stuff, and now we go out and we meet a group of like 15, 20 people that are actually locals that we haven't met before. And then we get to take some more photos in a different location than what we did the first day. I have absolutely no idea why I'm doing this, except I just do it because it's fun, and it is the essence of photography. And I'll repeat myself again. It is put on some good walking shoes, take a camera, leave your phone at home, and just go out, photograph for half an hour or 2 hours, and don't be disappointed if you don't get anything, or like in another, I would say it another way, don't set a goal that you want to make this much or that much. Just set the goal that you would walk out the door with your camera and not check your iPhone or smartphone for 2 hours, and just go look at stuff and see what happens. Inspiration is gonna strike you, and you are gonna make photographs, but don't set as a goal. Just see what happens, and just have, you could say, almost as a goal, or the only promise I'll give you is that you will enjoy doing that, and you'll be more happy that you have a camera. The result I have when people have done my workshops, I travel literally all over the world and do workshops for usually small exclusive groups of people. So it's like from 8 to 10 people typically. So it's very hands-on and one-on-one. But one thing in common for almost all people that finish my workshop is that after the workshop they take a lot more photos with much more confidence, and they start using them for something. Either they show them to the family, or they show them to the world via social media, or even some start a gallery or participate in competitions. But they take a lot more photographs. And that of course makes me really happy, because there's a lot of things you can learn in a workshop, technical stuff, but I'm not actually, I know a lot about the technical stuff, but my aim is to make it simple. I'm much more interested in inspiring people to find out what is it that they want to do, and I think that's kind of what I do in the workshops. And I just told before, okay, we just walk around for 7 hours the first day with the camera and take photos as a group, and I don't instruct people. There's no test, there's no assignments. It's just like, okay, whatever you see that you want to take a photo of, you take a photo of, and you kind of see what do other people do. And throughout the workshop you find out that you don't suck, you actually can take photos. They're different than what the other guy did, but everybody in the workshop is actually different. Even you walk the same place, you took pictures sometimes of the same thing, and sometimes somebody took a picture of something that he was the only one who took a photo of, and then something else 3 or 4 people took, and something everybody took. But all the photos are different, and all the photos are unique. So that's part of the learning experience. And I usually say that my main goal in a workshop is to teach people that well, no, I won't say perfect, but you're unique. So the main quality you have is that you pick up a camera and you think, wow, I really like this, I want to take photographs. That's the main quality, because as soon as you start taking photographs, then you're going to make photographs, and you're going to find a style And as soon as you start sharing your photographs, people are going to see and comment that, wow, I really like this, I really like this. And that builds confidence, but it also should give, and that's the thing people mostly have missed, even they have been photographed for 20 years, they miss to see that people like the photo because it's unique. They don't see, because, I mean, we don't see what we do is unique. You don't think that your handwriting is special, probably. You don't think your photography is special because that's just how you do it. But once you start looking at what do other people do in a workshop, and also you start sharing your photographs and you get response back, you will actually find out that people see something unique in your photographs. So that also means it's very easy because you just have to be you. And that means we're back again, put on some shoes, take a camera, leave the phone at home, go out and observe. And then whatever you observe, you think, wow, I want to photograph this way. That is the right way. Very simple. On the second day of my workshop, we basically sit indoor because then we're going to edit the photos we did the day before. But also I usually tell a lot for an hour or two, almost non-stop, about workflow, editing, filing systems, backup and so on. And it's not because I want to try to make it complicated. I mean, the thing is that photography should be simple, and the camera and taking photos is actually simple. That's one of the lessons of my workshop, and everything I do, my books and my articles, is that no, you just do this. It shouldn't be complicated. If it's complicated, it's not fun and it's not right. So the same with workflow, but you can say digital workflows have this thing that there's a lot of software companies that have interest in telling you that you need this and that, and they keep changing the system all the time. So what we go into is that even you could say that there's a lot of fancy words in this whole area, and there's a lot of technology and machines and this and that, but the whole essence of it is how to make it your own. So it's almost like photography, how to make your own style of photography. Okay, so how do you make your own archive system of your pictures that makes sense for you and gives you the freedom that you can use any software, any computer, at any time, like 10 years ago or now or in 20 years, and it's still your archive and your pictures. That's the whole point of the workflow. So that's what we try to solve the second day. And then we dig out our computers and then we import the pictures we did the day before. And usually people, including me, have forgot what you actually took pictures of, what you met. I mean, we met like a fire truck or an old Rolls Royce or a woman with a bird on the shoulder, all kinds of weird things. But you kind of remember a few highlights, but you kind of forgot that maybe you did 200 photos or 400 or 800 photos and you cannot remember actually any of the photos. And now you get to see them and you get to edit them, you get to decide these are the ones that I like, and you get to edit them in color or black and white or maybe both and crop them the way. And in the end of the day, we take each a handful of the photos and we present it to the group. And it's not because it's an exam or test or now we're going to compare. The whole point is that often people will start in the workshop and say, oh, I'm not sure I can do 5 good photos. And that's completely BS, and that's what you see the second day, because maybe you have 30, maybe you have 60 photos that are actually good. And you have maybe 2 or 3 you think they're really awesome. But now you have to make a collection of 5 photos that you share with a group, and this is this group, so that's a different communication than if it was another one. So you actually have to compile 5 photos. You have to forget the other ones and just take 5 and put them in a sequence so they make sense for this group. So that in itself is a very interesting task. And of course it's also that it's very interesting for everybody to see what did the other people do. And actually after the workshop, after the last day, we actually take all photos that was taken, all the ones that we marked, that we edited, we put them into one hard drive, and then everybody gets a copy of everything, so you can actually sit and study what did everybody else do these 3 days. So that's you could say that's the workflow day. It sounds incredibly boring. In a way it is. You could say it's almost by nature incredibly boring, but I really try to make it alive, and I try to make it your workflow because it is your archive, it's your photographs. It's not, you're not building a library or some dull thing, you're building something beautiful, things you took photos of. And sometimes we simply just take a break, we take out our lenses, we talk about them. Sometimes somebody bake a cake, like recently somebody baked always wear a camera cake, and then we had some strong coffee and cake. In many ways my workshop is very free, and you could say it seems very disorganized, and maybe it is, but it is. Traditionally, the people that come to my workshop are people that travel to a city like Hong Kong or London because they want to experience that city. Some are locals, but the majority of people actually travel to a workshop, and it's usually high-end professionals, I would say, so they're like busy. So when they do a workshop, we're not going to do PowerPoint and have a strict schedule or something. We're going to create photographs, and we're going to have fun and enjoy that we have this hobby together. So in that way, it can seem very floating, and it's kind of very liberating to do a workshop, and it should be very inspiring and fun. On the third day, when we meet, the first thing we do is we go out and look for what I call magic of light, for portraits, and then we actually get into a small overload, or at least a lot of information about light, color of light, exposure of light, lenses, and we get to deal with a live person. Often we actually just photograph ourselves, because just the thing to be photographed is you learn a lot from that. You can actually feel, how does the photographer deal with this? Is he doing good or not? So you learn how to behave behind the camera by being in front of the camera, and you get a great photo from a group of people in my workshop. But we deal with all the technical aspects, and we deal with how to direct a person to make that person look good. And you can say, why did you just hire a good looking person? Well, because portrait has a lot to do with timing and light and rhythm and a lot of other things that actually comes together on that day. And it has a lot to do with also how to deal with people that you photograph, and you can say that also is applicable to people you meet in street photography, or you photograph somebody in a cafe. How do you get the photo that you want? How do you direct them without being a dictator, without being a creeper or an amateur? How do you get a great photo that you want to have, and also the person you took the photo of want to have? And when we have done that for a few hours, then we go grab some lunch, and then we go to our computers, and then we import the pictures we did, the portraits. And then we edit them. And one of the experiences of importing those photos is that now we used, you could say, all the premier technology. It's quite simple, but we used, you could say, all the tricks in the book to get the colors right, the exposure right, the focus right, the rhythm right, and everything. So you will see when you import the photos that they're actually pretty ready. You don't really have to edit a lot or do anything to them. They look pretty cool, you know. They look final. And you could say when you do portraits, you don't need 20 of the same photos of a person with the same shirt, the same face expression. You just need one good photo of the person. Maybe you have 3, or maybe you want to do color and black and white. But in that way, the editing is relatively simple. So that leaves time that we can talk, and we can drink some coffee, and we can discuss different things about photography, editing, cameras, lenses, and so on. So it does get into a little bit of a kindergarten party on the last day, and then again to keep the shape of it and try to make it serious and make it look like a real workshop. Then again you have to select a handful of photos that you show to the group, and that's basically how we end off. And after the workshop, some people they stay connected about photography or business or whatever, and also we share the pictures and so on. And actually quite a lot of people, it's like 30% of people who do a workshop, they come back and do another one, maybe because they thought, okay, now I want to learn more, I got this new lens, I want to use this one, or they want to know more about colors. But mainly it's because they just want to have a kick of inspiration, and because it's damn fun. So you go to a new city, now you go to Hong Kong or Tokyo or New York, where you haven't been maybe for a long time, or before at least you haven't been photographing, so now you go back there and then you do a workshop again. So that's basically what my workshop is about, and it's something I've been doing for more than 10 years now, and I've done it all over the world. And all over the world I mean like Australia, New Zealand, all over Asia, Europe, the US. We still have Moscow is happening very soon, and Mexico. So I will get into some new areas actually, but almost all over the world have been. Then now and then I will have somebody who asks me, don't you think you will get tired of traveling this much one day? And no, I actually don't think so. I am tired of airports and elements of travel, but I never get tired of walking out with a fresh pair of shoes, fresh eyes and a camera and take photographs with a dedicated group of people and answer questions and see people get inspired and involved and go home and take more photos, and we stay in communication with email. That's awesome. That's not what I do all year. It used to be almost I was always traveling. Now it's more like compact time where I go Europe, then I go Asia, then I go US, and then I have periods in between where I can sit and write and do videos and do my own projects and prints and so on. So it's not something that I intend to limit or make very exclusive or stop doing in the future. It's something I'll keep doing. That's I mean, we should all you know, you update the camera, you get new lenses, you want to go new places, you learn new things, you want to apply them. So that's the life of photography and the life of a photographer. And photography have been around for 150 years or something, not as long as painting. And the great thing about photography is you get a camera and you can go out and take photos. It's almost like instant painting. So that's one thing that I like about it. And I've written a whole book, ebook, or a whole book. It's a rather simple and small book, but you click on the link below the video and you can download it and you can read it on your iPad, iPhone and so on. And that book goes over Elliot Arvid, Cartier-bresson, Oud and other great photographers and their career, and also I tell what is it that I look for and why do I photograph and so on. Very interesting. Click on the link below the video and download the book, and from what I hear from people, it's very inspiring and gets you out photographing, and that is one of the things I like about my books is that when you read my books that you go out and photograph instead of reading the book and then you go back and read some more and you go out and photograph. That was all I had to tell you today. As I said, below the video is a link to my book, so click on it and get the book in a few minutes and start reading. Until I see you next time, remember to always wear a camera.